there by their outstanding big court fellow inside. James Winters with the block. He was impending on the defensive side, and Randy Tucker, the guard, number 10, does it the other way. Joliet Central can do it on both ends of the court, and they've proved that to their fans all season long. Joliet Catholic had their moments, but there were the Steelmen to come stealing the basketball, like Calvin King's big layup that seemed to put away things early in the first half. Danny McCarthy and staff were not liking what they saw, but then the Hilltoppers started moving the ball around and giving a little bit of a comeback. Darren Freeman along the baseline with the basket gave the Hilltoppers and their fans, for a moment, an opportunity to come back. But once you have that inside threat of James Winters, well, Joliet Central put the final nail on the coffin as he sewed it up with a 21-point win for the Steelmen and their tongue-waving fans. Then Wednesday night, Mike McConnell's Joliet West Tigers started applauding their way after winning the Sika West, and they did it behind point guard Michael Thompson. His steal and the layup all the way gave early indications to the Manuka Indians that this may not be their night earlier in the week. And then down inside, they go to the other players, like number 50, Michael Smith, inside with the basket, and he's getting the ball, and they are sharing the ball with great consistency. That makes for a championship team. Michael Thompson outside goes inside to Tony Marion, the big 6'6" senior, and that sewed up the win against Manuka, a 35-point victory, setting up the anticipated rubber rematch between the Tigers and the Steelmen.
WCTV Channel 15 presents the High School Basketball Game of the Week, sponsored by
live telecast in Joliet's Will County and Continental Cablevision on our High School Basketball Game of the Week, and tonight's game should be a dandy. Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Passion, along with Frank Palmasani, who has been, of course, our high school basketball analyst all season long. And what better game to have as our High School Basketball Game of the Week goes live here in Joliet, but a regional championship game, the biggest game of the year thus far for these two teams. Two teams who have already played each other up and up. Joliet West has won the two previous battles between these two, so this game tonight is going to be determined who goes on to the Romeoville sectional. Frank, we've seen both teams go at it. The first time, though, earlier in the year when Joliet West beat Central here at Joliet Central's gym, the Steelmen were without James Winters. Winters had a great game second time around, but the balance of Joliet West overcame the Steelmen's effort just a couple of weeks ago.
Joe, the first game, as you mentioned, was not a good indication at all. James Winters didn't play. Without James Winters, Joliet Central is real limited. Obviously, if you look at the differences of the two clubs, you know that Central needs to have the ball in Winters' hand. He is a scoring threat, a dominating player for them offensively. Whereas in Joliet West's case, they are much more balanced. They're not going to rely as much on one player. So you put down a Winters in one game, it's no indication of the strength of Joliet Central.
Well, when you look at both teams and you begin to make your comparisons of where their strengths are, and historically, this is a great rivalry. Both coaches did not have to talk to their players about the importance of tonight's game. When you talk about the backgrounds, you go back to 1983, when Joliet East High School lost and was closed up after that. Joliet West began dominating the series, leading 12-7. In fact, the Tigers have won 6 of their last 7. The two previous battles this season, Joliet West winning them both, 79-51 and 61-55. Does that matter in this third game?
Well, I think it's really going to be a key from the standpoint of confidence, Joe. Right now, from a confidence standpoint, Joliet West, the coaching staff, the players have to feel very good. They've got to feel very good about the balance they've shown all year and their capability to win tough and big games. They've won a conference championship, but they've got an albatross, and that albatross is they felt they've been good enough in the last 2 years to win a regional, and they haven't. They need this game tonight. They need it because in many cases, these seniors believe it's their year. They're as good a West team as we've seen when they're playing well.
Well, of course, one thing about Joliet Central that people have to remember, despite losing 6 of their last 7, to their crosstown rivals from JT West. Last season in this regional championship game, Joliet Central upset the Tigers, went on to win the Romeoville sectional, and then lost by just 1 point to Brandon Cole and the outstanding team from Bloom High School, who went on to the Elite Eight, the Class AA quarterfinals downstate. But when you look at the two teams and how they fared in conference battles, well, we talked about the 2 times that Central has lost, but Joliet West won the conference this year with a 9-3 mark on the Sika West, but not until the last week of the season. Everyone talked about what a great balance this conference had. Well, this has got to make both teams more prepared for the importance of this game here tonight.
No question about it. Whenever you're in that situation, Joe, where every game is such a battle and you're always striving for an enhanced goal, when you get to that regional play, you're playing well. You know, we're going to be talking to the coaches about whether their team is peaking, but I guarantee you right now, both teams are playing on all cylinders. You're going to see, if these kids go out and give a hard effort, I think you'll see the best games that each team will have played.
Central, and he will be taking on Michael Thompson. Now, when you look at these two, you're talking about 2 extremely quick go-to guys.
No question about it, Joe. I think you're talking about 2 of the premier guards in our area, and I think throughout the Chicagoland area. You can never question Michael Thompson's leadership. Not only is he a skilled player, he's an inspirational player. He makes other players around him go. In Randy Tucker's situation, if Randy Tucker gets the ball on the break, he can score on his own. He can bring the ball up the floor and hit a jump shot, and as quick in transition that I've ever seen.
And the other backcourt positions at the off guard, Ketzi Curry and Dave Evans, both number 20s for their respective teams, as Tucker and Thompson are both number 10s for their respective teams. Curry, outstanding quickness. In fact, if Thompson hurts Tucker tonight, we may see Curry, the outstanding defender for Joliet West, or rather for Joliet Central, go and start to hum on Thompson. Dave Evans, just a sophomore, but playing like a veteran this year. When you go to the front court, you talk about 2 players for Joliet Central, Calvin King and Frank Wallace, who both go to the boards extremely hard, very tough workers, but 2 players that are not necessarily counted on to doing the scoring. Other way around, though, is opposite for Joliet West. Terry Collins and Mike Smith, 2 relative newcomers to the varsity this year, have been doing not only the rebounding, but also helping the scoring for the postman Marion.
You know, Joe, I think in each case, keys to Central's success is going to be scoring out of their third player, scoring out of Frank Wallace. And I think keys to Joliet West scoring and indeed play tonight is going to be consistent and continued balance. And that means both Collins and Smith are going to have to contribute. Probably contribute more on the offensive boards than anywhere else.
The most publicized matchup, of course, is in the middle, and that will feature honorable mention All-State player James Winters, number 50 for Joliet Central. He'll be going to Iowa, all-area for the Chicago Sun-Times, averaging over 17 points and 11 rebounds. And he'll be taking on Tony Marion, the 6'6" senior, number 52 in the middle. He is averaging 14 points and 9 rebounds for Joliet West. 2 of the premier big people, and they've been matched up against each other on the varsity now for 3 years. So for these 2, this will be the final meeting they'll have against each other, and I really think we're going to see one heck of an intense battle in the paint between Winters and Marion.
Joe, I think simply if we count the minutes that each plays, the player that plays the most minutes, that team will win. I think in those 2 cases, foul trouble will be the key. If either of those big guys gets in foul trouble, it puts their team at a tremendous disadvantage.
2 teams that will also have some disadvantages coming off the bench. Joliet Central, who had started earlier in the year, Scott Hassenjager, but he's been in a shooting slump and may not get much playing time, so look for Brian Reed and Eli Robinson to come off the bench for Coach Greg Peden and the Steelmen. For Joliet West, they will be without 6'6" senior Lance Surges. He is ineligible due to a rule violation of having played in another game that was not sponsored by the team or the IHSA. They will miss his size and muscle in the paint should Marion get in, as Frank said, some foul trouble. So look for little quick Kenny Drake and big Tim Chappell to come off the bench for Joliet West. It should make for an interesting matchup. Greg Peden, the head coach, what is he going to look for? You talk to Greg, you know what the Steelmen need to look for tonight to offset Joliet West.
Greg feels there are 3 keys to the game, Joe. One of the things is he knows that Joliet West has been a dominating team on the backboard. So he's got to keep the big forwards in the center off the glass. Secondly, and this is really an interesting characteristic, they've got to be real tough with the ball. They can't allow Thompson to get in there and sneak the ball out of their hands, out of the guard's hands especially. And the final thing from an offensive standpoint, Joe, they've got to get the ball into James Winter's hand, and it has to be a consistent effort.
And of course, on the other side of the ball, Joliet West has much the same look for. They will be looking to rebound offensively, as they have done so successfully all year long, and to slow down the Central Steelman running game. If the Steelmen get into a 94-foot game tonight, it could be to their advantage. West wants to deter that. And of course, breaking Central's half-court defensive pressure will be a big thing for Joliet West to look for tonight. It should be an interesting matchup. Both teams, great quickness, great work on the boards, and of course, they can play with each other in a 94-foot game. But how will that cause foul trouble? Well, let's find out from the coaches. They're up next as our pregame show continues live tonight from the Joliet Regional at Joliet Central High School on our high school basketball game of the week.
And Mike, we've seen your team progress over the last several years, but I know that all Joliet West fans are asking one question. Have you peaked? Are you playing on all 5 cylinders? Do you think you're playing your best basketball right now?
Yes, yes, and yes. I think we're right where we want to be at this time. All our kids are playing well. You know, Central's doing the same thing. That's the problem.
Mike, you know, I think we're also interested in, what do you tell a team before a game like this? Obviously, you know Central very well, but what were some of the things you talked about this week, and specifically, what are you going to say right before the game starts?
We talked to them about, you know, don't get all involved in, you know, in case the kid gets a dunk, because we are going to try to play in front of Winters tonight, and he may get a dunk out of it. Don't let the fans get you going. Just go out and play. You know, we've won 20 ball games, and do what's got us here. Play team basketball.
Mike, you stress team basketball, and certainly your team has shown a lot of balance. I mean, you're getting scoring production from all 5 players. Tell me a little bit about how confident this group is. Does that lend itself toward confidence when you know the ball's being spread around like that?
I think the confidence comes from, you know, a kid like Tony Marion and the leadership of Michael Thompson, where, you know, they don't have to get their 20
At
points.
Central tonight, and you can just see on the faces of these kids out here tonight, Frank Palmisani, and as a former coach at Providence and Lewis, you know what those faces mean. Intense bounds a game. And Michael Smith, in his first year of varsity experience, number 50, a 6'4" senior Smith, 12 points, 6.5 rebounds. And in the middle, Tony Marion, number 52, 14 points, 9 rebounds, the big veteran, 6'6" senior. Mike O'Connell, the head coach in his 7th year, assisted by Bob Kaskowski. The Steelmen are up next after tying for second with Andrew at 8-4 in Sickle West play. Randy Tucker, number 10, is their starting point guard. Tucker, 5'11" senior, averaging 15 points, 3 steals, and 6 assists. In the backcourt with him is 6'1" senior Kedzie Curry, number 20. Curry, 7 points, 3 assists, 2 steals a game. In the front court for the Steelmen, Calvin King, 6'3" junior, number 34, 6 points a game. And Frank Wallace, number 44, 6'4" senior, 10 points, 6 rebounds. And of course, in the middle is James Winters, number 50. Winters going to Iowa next year at 6'5", a senior, 17.5 points, 11 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks, shots a game. Greg Payton, in his 9th year, head coach of the Steelmen, assisted by Dave Wallace and sophomore coach John Randage. So everything is pretty much set here, and it's just a matter of the officials, Chip Sobek and Stan Donegan, to tip it off here and get things going. We have a standing room only crowd. We have Paul Morzarati, the athletic director of Joliet Central, and his staff, who have done a wonderful job getting things organized here for our live telecast here tonight. And this is an old gym that Frank Palmisani, you as a former head coach at Providence, know this place really is at its best in March.
Joe, I've got goosebumps already. I mean, it's just an exciting situation, you know, gazing out at people during the national anthem, and the kids are up, and the coaches. You can just feel the excitement. You know, it's just great to be here.
The Steelmen will be in their white jerseys with the royal blue and gold trim, and the Tigers in the dark jerseys. Winters gets the tip from Terry Collins, and the Steelmen have the basketball, and we are underway live with first quarter action here from Steelman country.
Joliet West open up in a 2-3 zone, and they're really making it hard on Winters. Tony Marion is working them over.
Watch the pane to the left of your screen. There's Winters really getting banged up, and finally we have a whistle, and it is against Tony Marion.
Joe, the whistle is really a key here. George Sobek, Chip Sobek decided, I am not going to let these guys battle like that inside.
It is good that the referees are establishing their game early so that the players can. Way outside it goes to Curry. In the corner, Tucker looking at Calvin King to Tucker up the back of the rim. Thompson the rebound. Here comes Michael Thompson, and he wisely slows it up, and the Tigers are in their half-court offense.
Joliet Central likes to play a lot of gimmick defenses, but against Joliet West balance, it's difficult to do that. Right now you see him in a straight 2-3 zone.
Collins on the dribble, way back out on top. Thompson from three, he's got it. Michael Thompson starts things off for the Tigers with a three-point field goal.
Michael Thompson felt that jump shot. He wanted that ball earlier, and it took Evans a while to get it to him, but when he had it, he knew that ball was going down.
3-0 Tigers as the Steelmen set up in their half-court offense. Tucker outside. Does one three-point field goal start another player from the opposition to want some of their own, Frank?
Yeah, I think you got to be cautious there. You know, getting it. Well, there it is.
Randy Tucker with the basket, and he had Michael Thompson's hand all over his flesh.
We're going to see it here, and you're going to see Randy Tucker decide he's going to try to take Michael Thompson one-on-one. Michael Thompson does what he does best, reaches in, but that time the referee called the foul.
It was a good call, and for Greg Peden and his Steelman, amazing that Tucker and his strength able to get that shot away. And at the line will be Tucker to even things up here at 3 apiece.
And as we know, that was one of Greg's goals. You know, he wanted his kids to really be tough with the ball.
Thompson goes up baseline, shuffles it off, and finding the range is Dave Evans.
Joe, that is just an amazing ability that Michael Thompson has. He takes the ball hard to the basket and has a perception and a sense of where everyone is on the floor. He knew exactly that he was going to drive the baseline and then dish the ball off.
5-3 in favor of the Tigers, 6:05 left in the first quarter.
Joliet West kids really like to play man-to-man defense. This is their favorite defense.
Pull-up jumper short off the front of the rim, loose ball, and the rebound to Michael Smith. Just under 6 to play, and right now the Tigers showing a little bit more cool under the lane, and a little shove, pull-up, turnaround J, and Michael Smith has a pair. It is 7-3 in favor of the Tigers.
Joliet West is playing like an offensive machine. I mean, they're handling the defense just like they're so confident and comfortable with the ball.
Big three-point field goal. Kedzie Curry lets the Tigers know we got a weapon of our own from beyond the 19.9 line.
That was a big confidence builder for Central. They need to get scoring other than the top 2 players.
Inside, going to Collins, wisely brings it back out. Thompson from 3, he's got it. Michael Thompson has the touch tonight. 2 3-point field goals for Thompson. He has 6 of the Tigers' 10, and it's a 4-point Joliet West lead.
Joe, I felt going in that both teams are going to play their best game, and you just feel it right now. Both teams just feel so confident looking on the floor.
Michael Thompson, his second rebound of the game, pushes it up, but the turnover, the first of the game for Joliet West. And James Winters talking with Randy Tucker about how to get that ball into me.
That's a good point, Joe. You know, sometimes you think, well, that's a selfish statement, but it certainly isn't. Joliet Central needs to get the ball in the Winters, and there it is.
A beautiful look inside by Frank Wallace. Wallace looked for Winters, and he found him.
A key here now, Joliet Central's 1-3-1 half-court trap. O'Connell knows you got to be successful to beat Central. You got to be able to defeat the trap.
Collins with the J. Terry Collins, who shows great poise in putting the ball on the floor at 6'5" and weaving his way in for the open J.
Well, when you talk about Joliet West most improved players, you certainly got to mention Terry Collins. He's just really having a whale of a year.
We got a foul against Joliet West and against Michael Smith. His first personal foul. third team foul against Joliet West, and the Tigers now have 3 team fouls. Joliet Central with just 1 team foul, or no team fouls for Greg Peden and his Steelman.
Later we'll talk, Joe, about the whole concept of whose advantage is it to have a closely officiated game.
There's James Winters ruling the baseline. If he has even a half a step, he's going to go to the hole, and he did there for the 2nd time in a row, keeping the Steelman within 2. 12-10 West.
Joliet Central's 1-3-1 defense. Winters in the middle in the trap. He's not going to let that ball get inside. But right now, the forwards are shooting the ball with so much confidence.
Michael Smith with that last bucket from 18 feet. His 4th points of the game. 14-10 in favor of the Tigers.
West back in a man-to-man here.
From 3-point range, does not get the help of the rim. Winters the rebound. Goes back up, blocked by Collins. And Marion the loose ball.
Great athletic play by both teams. James Winters doing a heck of a job getting to the offensive glass, and then a terrific athletic move on the block.
Nice.
What a pass.
Inside.
Oh!
No basket, no basket. Michael Thompson made it look like a highlight shot, but watch the foul underneath the basket as we look at it again. No basket, and it'll be Joliet Central basketball, but Mike O'Connell is taking his jersey off and is all over the referees. 3:01 left in the first. We've got to get off again later.
Yeah.
Joliet Central with the basketball. Less than 3 to play here in the first quarter. Frank Wallace from outside rolls off the rim. Big rebound inside for the Steelman. Calvin King, 6'3" junior, went sky high for the rebound.
Well, the last several possessions, Joliet Central is taking West strength offensive glass and making it their own.
King the steal and the follow. Ball still loose. James Winters goes to the floor and strong move to the glass. We are tied at 14 here with 2:20 left. What a great 94-foot play by the Joliet Central Steelman from both ends of the court. Terry Collins tried to silence the crowd. He doesn't, but the nice follow by Dave Evans does.
That's really a terrific move by Dave Evans as a guard, sneaking inside, being able to shoot the ball off the offensive rebound without coming down.
Only Joliet West Tiger who has yet to score here with under 2 to play in the first quarter is Tony Marion. James Winters looks off, free throw line jumper, no good. Marion is over the back, a little too aggressive on that foul, and James Winters picks up the first Joliet Central foul here in the first quarter.
Joe, I think
Michael O'Connell on the bench looking for some help as Michael Thompson taking a breather. And in the game for Thompson is number 12, 5'8" junior Kenny Drake. Drake on the dribble.
Well, this will be a key part of the game, obviously, to see if Drake can just minimize errors and just keep the flow of the game going.
3-point attempt, no good. Big rebound by Calvin King. He has 2 boards and 1 steal. Long jumper from 3. Kedzie Curry, his second 3-point field goal, brings the crowd back up to their feet. Joliet Central's first lead of the game is 17-16 with 1:05 left in the first quarter.
Certainly Kedzie Curry is really into the ball game, making those 2 jump shots.
Third turnover of the first quarter against Joliet West. And Tim Chappell, the 6'1" senior, comes in for Coach O'Connell as Terry Collins takes a seat on the bench again, next to his coach. Less than a minute in the first quarter. Central with a 1-point lead. Down to Winters. He is fouled by Marion. And that's Tony Marion's second personal foul.
Well, Mike's in that situation now, Joe, where he's going to have to go to his 3rd substitute here in the first quarter. Perhaps in the first 2, he's been in that situation where, you know, he elected to do that, but this situation is certainly caused by a foul concern.
In the ball game for Joliet West.
Well, you know, we talked earlier about the impact officials would have, and I think because Joliet West is such a physical team, you would sense that if the whistle blows more, and sometimes I think it does blow more in tournament play, that it's going to be more to the detriment of Joliet West than Joliet Central.
Ed Wood in the ball game for Joliet West, replacing the foul-plagued Tony Marion. Also in the ball game, Tim Chappell, number 30, replacing Collins And as we mentioned, Drake in replacing Thompson. Joliet Central has yet to substitute. 35 seconds left in the first quarter. Reaching in foul by Frank Wallace. Wallace's first personal foul, second team foul against the Steelmen.
I just have this sense, Joe, that we're not really going to see much in terms of real physical play because the officials are going to blow the whistle.
Evans on the dribble for the Tigers.
Joliet Central doing a smart thing here, trapping the ball. They know that Joliet West is down 3 starters, and the more pressure they can put on the ball against kids off the bench, more successful they can have to try to draw a turnover.
Looking down low, but the ball stolen by Winters. Back to Joliet West. 5 seconds left. Woods inside for 2. Ed Wood off the bench with 2 before the buzzer. Recaptures the lead for the Tigers. We have come to the end of one period of play. It's 18-17 West. We'll be back. Segments here of the second quarter. Joliet West with the 1-point lead, 18-17 after 1. Joe Passion back along with Frank Palmasani and Joliet Central Steelman after grabbing the ball back on a missed shot. Joliet West with 4 turnovers here in the first half. Joliet Central with just 1. James Winters working, puts up the shot, gets his own rebound. Back up from underneath the reverse layup, and James Winters has 8. 1-point lead back to the Steelmen.
That's why he's going to Iowa, Joe. That was a terrific move under the basket.
8 points for Winters. Ball stolen away. 5th turnover by the Tigers. Down low, underneath, jump ball. Possession arrow to Joliet Central. No harm done for the Steelmen here, but a great effort by Michael Smith, number 50, to try and get that ball for the Tigers.
And great anticipation defensively by James Winter. He had a sense that that pass was going to be coming in the middle of the floor and got a hand in.
Winters outside, high post, over Marion. Can't get it to fall, loose ball, and Collins comes up with it for the Tigers.
I'm really amazed at the activity around the offensive glass by Joliet Central.
Nice pull-up J from the baseline by Kenny Drake. Drake has 2. His first bucket of the night. And 1-point lead goes back to Joliet West.
Tigers have really gotten a lift from their bench.
Long J supplied by Kedzie Curry. Curry has been in the 708 area code all night tonight, Frank. He has 2 3-point field goals and 1-2 that you just saw from 17 feet.
And Joliet West will have to make an adjustment defensively because right now I don't think going into the game they anticipated Curry to be as dominant as he has been.
Frank Wallace, the rebound on the other end. Central pulling up is James Winters. No good. Wallace the rebound. Can't get it to fall. Collins comes back with it for West. Off to Drake. Drake long field goal for 3. Kenny Drake has come off the bench to score the first 5 of this quarter for Joliet West and gives the Tigers a 2-point lead, 23-21, with just under 6 to play in the first half. Winters from 3 short, all by himself there, down low, and here comes Evans, a block by Collins. Loose ball, and there's going to be a foul on Thompson. Michael Thompson with the foul. That will be his second. Tough to whistle down aggressive play, Frank, but the referees are right there. And coming to the line, watch Thompson, couldn't get a handle on it. Going down with him is Kedzie Curry, and Curry really threw his body and gave himself up to get that ball back.
There's a couple keys in so far in this situation. You know, Greg Peden was very concerned about the tenaciousness of Joliet Central. How tough could they be? Well, they have proven so far that they're going to be tough tonight. They're flying on the floor for balls, and they're flying on the offensive backboard. Really more aggressive on the board than Joliet West, which is a surprise.
Frank Wallace on the bench next to his coach, and Joliet West substituting for the first time here tonight with Eli Robinson, the 6-foot junior, in the ball game.
Well, you know, I've really got to give Mike a lot of credit, Mike O'Connell, because he's gone to some guys off the bench, and these kids have contributed.
From 3-point range, nothing but the bottom of the net for Kenny Drake. Drake has 2 threes in a row and a deuce for 8 points here to open up the second quarter. The only Tiger who has scored, and they lead by 4.
Two things happened there, Joe. We got a skip pass and we got a screen on the opposite forward, which allowed Drake to be wide open for that three-pointer.
The rebound by Dave Evans the other way to Collins. Couldn't hold on to it. And turnover West. The central Steelman will bring it back. Collins was looking for the alley-oop. Mike O'Connell was hoping he'd get it, but the ball was just a little out of his range.
Greg Peden may be in a situation where he's going to need to give a blow. James Winters looks like he's struggling a little bit, and it's been a very emotional game, and it's natural in this kind of situation because it just takes an awful lot out of you.
Calvin King almost loses the ball, but he gets it back. Down low. They're looking for Winters off the backboard turnover. Steelman, their second. Loose ball, but this time the Tigers get it back. Still with 4:20 left in the first half, Tony Marion, the all-conference center for the Tigers, has yet to score. Almost stolen away, then it is by King. He pulls it up, and the Steelmen set up the offense. Down low, Steelmen take the ball and then turn it over.
You can just sense that, again, after that beautiful start for both teams where everybody was knocking shots down, now everybody's a little tentative, a little bit tired, and you can see some turnovers.
Steelman beginning to play out of control. Ball almost thrown away, but Tony Marion puts up his first shot on the follow. Can't get it to go. Loose ball, same team to Joliet Central. The big rebound there by Eli Robinson. And now Greg Peden with 3:40. Don't come through with the big points early. Who will? Both coaches answered they hope someone off the bench would. Drake has for West. Curry, who doesn't normally score a lot, averaging just 7 a game, has come through with a big game tonight thus far for Central. The Steelmen go inside, and a nice little driving move by number 34, Calvin King. He has 4. And it's a 2-point West lead.
I think it's appropriate that we mentioned that Joliet West strategy really was to leave King alone. Just be real soft. And King did the best thing you can do in that situation, and that's take the ball to the basket. Because when you drop off and you slough off, sometimes you're not ready for the drive.
We have a foul whistle down the other end. Frank Wallace the foul, even though everyone else is raising their hand. Only Frank has to. 3:06 left in the first half. 26-24, Joliet West the 2-point lead. The Tigers in their dark jerseys, the Steelmen in white. Turnaround Jay, and Tony Marion hits his first bucket of the game. Gives the West Tigers a 4-point lead back.
Joe, that was a classic confrontation. Tony Marion had Winters on his back, stepped off, took the little jump shot in his face.
Interesting, the only other starter who had not scored Frank was another Frank Wallace. He got his basket a moment ago, and it's back to a 2-point ball game. So all the starters have scored, and for Joliet West, Ken Drake and Ed Wood have scored off the bench. Nice move, baseline, and a big bucket for Dave Evans, the sophomore. He has 6.
Joliet Central was in one of their gimmick defenses, that time a diamond and 1, but sometimes it can break down when you don't have all 5 guys conscious of where the ball is, and that one young man drove all the way to the basket uncontested.
Frank Wallace has 2 field goals in a row, and it's a 2-point game, 30-28. 2 minutes left in the half. 2-point field goal, and it's good for 2 more. Dave Evans, just inside the 3-point line, hits his 7th and 8th points of the night, and back to a 4-point Joliet West lead.
You have the sense that the timeout really settled both teams down, and now we're back to excellent play.
Randy Keys is in the ball game for Joliet Central. In front of the West bench, both referees looking at each other. They have not made up their mind, and it will be Joliet West basketball in front of Coach O'Connell. And I think for the referees, it's good that they called it Joliet West. I'd hate to have Mike O'Connell in my ear if the ball had gone the other way. Greg Peden, meanwhile, stays calm, cool, and collective on his side of the bench. But, of course, that doesn't always last. Tony Marion gets his open J, his favorite shot from the high post. Marion has 4, both here coming in the second quarter. 34-28. The Tigers with the 6-point lead.
That was a great job of flash cutting the daylight by Tony Marion. Knew where the seam of the zone is, and he went right to it. And that is a great one-on-one move.
Randy Tucker with his great quickness, and that is his shot, the pull-up J.
Oh, yeah, he takes the ball hard on the dribble, and then he's in the air. You just can't stop him.
We have a reaching in foul by Frank Wallace, and that's going to send Frank to the pine. Wallace has 3, and Joliet West will go to the line possibly. Coach O'Connell there in the middle, leaning up with his sweater, and Coach Peden yelling out as the Tigers with a 4-point lead over the Steelmen with 1:06 left. It will be an inbounds play for West.
Central now in a man-to-man defense.
Both teams also now in the bonus, and the foul is against the Steelmen. I believe Calvin King picks it up on his back. King, his first personal foul. Back in the game is Eli Robinson for the foul play, Frank Wallace. And here's how rough it's getting, folks.
Joe, watch Terry Collins. You know, earlier in the year, he may not have had the confidence to take the ball to the basket like that, but now, after playing this year, asserting himself on the floor, he's really a confident player.
At the line, Terry Collins. Collins hits it, just a junior. Excellent worker. Coach O'Connell thought he relied on Tony Marion too much early in the year, but he's really coming to his own in the second half of the season. Collins with 3 tonight after missing the second free throw. A 5-point lead. The Tigers steal the ball with less than a minute in the first half. Underneath by himself with the basket. He can't get it. The fall still missing. Ed Wood getting it again. This time Wood gets the foul. He'll get a second chance.
Well, that was the first time we really saw Joliet West dominate that backboard like Mike O'Connell felt they needed to do.
Watch them play volleyball underneath. It looks like for a moment Wood has it, but I believe Winters got a piece of it. Michael Smith kept that ball alive. A great play by Smith on the boards. And at the line is Ed Wood, the 6'4" junior. Wood is one of those players that Coach O'Connell talks about before the game, saying, well, I don't know if I'll use him. If I have to, there'll be a very good reason for it, or it'll be a blowout. He has come up with Wood early. He scored a bucket in the first quarter and has a free throw here in the second quarter for 3.
And I'm sure he's real happy that he elected to use him.
11 points off the Joliet West bench, Frank, here in the first half. None for Joliet Central off the bench. And
Joe,
James Winters goes in and draws the foul for the Steelmen.
We just saw a terrific post move. James Winters takes the ball in the hole, takes one hard dribble to the baseline, or to the inside, and he's going to go up with a tough jump hook.
The foul is against Wood, his first, and James Winters at the line. Honorable mention, all-state player, all-area selection for the Chicago Sun-Times, and Coach Peden and his peers in the Sika West voted him the #1 player in the Sika West Conference this season.
And there is no question as to why, Joe. I mean, he is really a player.
10 points here in the first half for James Winters. He brings the Steelmen back within 4, 36-32. Ball gets away right in front of us. It is still alive. Randy Tucker is going to go all the way. He gets it for 2. Tucker has 7 points. And with 10 seconds in the first half, it's a 2-point Joliet West lead. Ball knocked down, a double dribble, traveling violation against the Tigers. 2 consecutive turnovers. And watch how, as we look at the steal at half court a moment ago, Frank, it looked as though Joliet West wasn't sure it was still alive.
Well, Kenny's Drake error the last time. Well, let's call his shot, Joe.
Tucker, who made that big shot, tried this past season, and for 2 of the last 3 years are in their black jerseys with the gold and white trim and controlling the ball to the left. And of course, the Joliet Central Steelmen, who finished runner-up this year, tied with Andrew at 8-4 in conference play behind the Tigers, are in their white jerseys with the royal blue gold trim. Long jumper from the far baseline, no good. Loose ball underneath, and it finally comes out to Calvin King and Joliet Central. Leading scorers in the first half, 10 points for James Winters, 9 for Kedzie Curry of Joliet Central. And Randy Tucker had 7 in the first half, and now with that deuce has 9, and we are tied at 36. It was pretty close in both quarters. The leading scorers in the first half for Joliet West with 8 points apiece, Dave Evans, and off the bench, Ken Drake. Michael Thompson, who hit 2 threes in the first quarter of the ball game, misses on that attempt. Loose ball underneath, and Tony Marion, the big tip in from in the paint. Marion has 6 tonight.
Well, there's a key, obviously, for Joliet West. They need stick-back baskets. It's certainly been their strength all year. They haven't had many tonight, but they're getting them now in the beginning of the second half.
James Winters down low, and we have an offensive foul against Winters. That could be Winters' 3rd.
Ball went into James Winters. He could have gone up right away. Instead, he elected to put it on the floor. But, Joe, when he put it on the floor, he led with his forearm, and the official made the call.
3rd personal foul against James Winters, the all-conference #1 player in the Sika West, according to the coaches. Loose ball on the takeaway. Joliet West with the turnover, and the Steelman the other way. Fouled out with 2:04 left in the game, and with 14 points on the bench, watching as his teammates try and pick it up here. They trail by 1 against the favored Tigers. 25 seconds left. Thompson will inbound, and he does to Evans. Back to Michael Thompson, and it'll be clock soaking time. Randy Tucker goes in and gets the foul. Tucker can afford it. He has only 1 tonight.
Well, now the game comes down to free throws, as it so often does in tournament play and in big games, Joe. Michael Thompson's in a situation here. If he bangs these 2, Joliet Central must attempt a 3-point shot, or shoot right away and then call a timeout. Score around the basket and call a timeout. If he misses either one, then obviously the top one of the one-on-one, if he misses it, then Central's got a lot of flexibility.
Here's Michael Thompson, honor roll student, tremendous football player. There's that veteran public address announcer for Joliet West High School out amongst the fans here tonight. Michael Thompson, tremendous football and track athlete, and of course, dials up the net here from the free throw line. And we have a timeout.
No, called 10 seconds. Too much time. He was counting to 10 seconds down. Michael Thompson used too much time at the free throw line.
And so only a 2-point lead. And what a tremendous call that may turn out to be. 15 seconds left. Tucker shoots it in and out. Rebound Marion. With 10 seconds left, he is fouled. Tucker took the best shot he could. It went halfway in the net and bounced back out. And with 10 seconds left, Tony Marion comes up with maybe the biggest rebound of this season.
Well, that ball did feel like it was going down, and all of a sudden the lid was on and it came right back out.
Tucker pulls up with a 6-foot J. Marion the big rebound, and of course no other alternative but for Randy to come right back and foul Tony Marion. So at the line is Marion. Marion, a 67% free throw shooter.
Greg Peden knows, and his club knows, that he needs a 3-point shot now. They're down to 10 seconds, so Joliet West gets out. This is the Ihsa, obviously, Joe. This ball goes down, the game's over.
If Marion nails this, it would take 2 Joliet Central possessions to get back in the ball game. And Tony Marion may have nailed more than just that free throw. He may have nailed the coffin on Joliet Central's upstart hopes tonight. Hassenjager from 3 is way short. 2 seconds left. It's all over. 66 to 62. The Joliet West Tigers win the Joliet Regional Championship by 4 in a tremendously played basketball game between 2 teams that have done nothing but the ladder all season long. 3 wins this year in 3 outings for Joliet West against the Steelmen, and it is a victory for the Joliet West Tigers, 66 to 62. Joliet West led by 2 at the half, and here they win by 4 at the end of the game. Joe Passion along with Frank Palmisani, we will stay with you live.
Greg, you've got to be so proud of your players. James Winters goes down, and yet they take it right to the wire.
Yeah, very proud of the kids. Thought we did an excellent job and kept working even though James was out of the ball game. And Joliet West deserves a lot of credit. They shot the eyes out of the basket. David Evans just killed us from the outside. You know, we just kept telling the kids they're not going to be able to keep shooting this way all night, but unfortunately, from our standpoint, they did keep shooting it.
Going into the beginning of the game, Greg, I know you told us that you felt you really had to be tenacious, you had to be intense, you really have to take care of the basketball, and you had to be conscious of Joliet West going to the offensive boards. And certainly early in the game, you guys took the intensity to the game. You went and got second shots in the glass, and you protected the ball very well.
Yeah, you know, I thought we did an excellent job. As you already mentioned, basically it's a great high school basketball game, and you know, certainly I feel awful sorry for our kids, especially our seniors, that they have to go out this way. But unfortunately, that's the way things go. And you know, we were lucky enough to get the chance to go last year, and hopefully Joliet West will take this and go on down the line this year.
Sometimes whatever happens is just meant to be, Greg. Your kids played a great game. They've had a great year. Congratulations to you on a fine job.
Thanks a lot, Frank.
We'll be back with Joe, with winning coach Mike O'Connell, and some of the players on the Joliet West Tigers after this time.
Central High School, the Joliet West Tigers, couldn't do it in their own building against the Steelmen last year in the regional final, so they said, well, we'll go over to Central and we'll do it there. Mike O'Connell, big win here for you tonight by 4 points. And a 3-game sweep over Central. But a lot of people thought it might not happen, but they made it difficult for you tonight. What was the key? What turned it over there in the end?
Well, you know, at the end, both teams had several shots go in and out. I mean, it could have fallen either way. It just happened to go our way tonight. Coach Pete and his kids, you know, they can be awful proud of themselves. They played hard. They had James out the last 2 minutes. Of course, we had a lot of people out the first half, too. I think a big key tonight was the play of our substitutes in the first half.
No question, your bench, I should say, outscored Joliet Central's bench 11-0 in the first half. And that was a big boost while you rested some of your starters. Obviously, a situation that worked out well for you in the end when all your starters were on the floor.
Well, that's what we told them at halftime, that we were going to be a little more fresh than they are, but I don't know if it was that or the fall of the ball. Central came up with so many offensive rebounds. It was very upsetting as a coach, and they came up with a lot of loose balls, although Mike Smith had a big loose ball at the end that he came up with. Could have gone either way. We'll take it. You know, we've won 3 regionals now in 7 years. You know, it's just, I'm glad for the kids, particularly for Michael Thompson and Tony Marin. They can at least graduate with a couple conference championship and a regional, and who knows what else.
You know, you told me earlier in the year a lot of your success this year for the Tigers would depend on how well Collins and Smith and the sophomore Evans would complement the 2 returning starters, of course, Thompson and Marion. I think that question has pretty much been laid to rest at this point.
Yeah, the young kids have really come along, and I call Smith young even though he's a senior because, you know, he's really done some nice things for us. And I'll tell you, right now we're a team. We're playing as a team. This Evans kid was phenomenal from the outside tonight. He just did some great things. Just very happy, and
what does it mean to win in this building?
Well, I've told you before, we play well here, you know, and this is 4 in a row in this building for us. So, as far as playing Central, I don't know. It's a neat basketball place. Crowd got into it tonight. Central's fans were really into it. I was a little nervous when they took the lead and their fans really got rocking and rolling. But we hung in there and things went our way.
Well, while your players rock and roll over, cutting down to the nets, one last thing. When you talk about going on to the Romeoville sectional, you played in that building. You know what that building is like when it rocks. You'll play the winner of the Lockport Regional, either Sandburg or a very Sandburg did win that ball game, so Sandburg will be in the final, in that opener on Wednesday. What are your thoughts about Sandburg? What do you know of them, and what do you expect from that ball club?
Well, we played them earlier. They've got a great player in Redkirk, similar to Andrew. Pass well, not the tallest team in the world, play very tough defense. It'll be a great game. It'll be a good game.
A lot of people feel the winner of the Bradley-Bourbonnais Regional or the Oswego Regional, possibly Waubonsie Valley, could be the 2 teams to really take special notice toward in that sectional. Would you like to be able to maybe shed some words on that one?
Well, you know, Waubonsie's got a good record. I don't know. I don't think they play the caliber teams we play. Bradley beat us by 2 in overtime in their gym. They shot 20-some free throws to our 4. I'm sure it'll be a little different on a neutral court. I'd like to play. I'd like to win. I just like to win. I don't care who I play, but I'd like another shot at Sandburg and another shot at Bradley.
Coach, congratulations. A great game tonight by both teams and a well-coached game by both coaches. Look forward to seeing you in the Romeoville sectional final. All right. Mike O'Connell, the head coach of the Joliet West Tigers. And while we're here, rather than break away, let's bring some of the players over here. And Tony Marion, come on over, Tony. Congratulations on a great ball game here tonight and tremendous effort. We talked about how you weren't really a major part of the scoring in the first half, but you seem to be on Winters all the time. How do you feel that really hurt him when the second half opened and he got in such early foul trouble that took him out of the game?
Well, I felt that he figured he couldn't be as aggressive as he was since he had 3 fouls. So I just bellied up to him as he got the ball and boxed him out when he shot.
You know, early in the season, we talked about how people like Smith and Collins and Evans were going to have to learn how to play like veterans, and boy, they really have alongside you and Michael Thompson. How do you see that growth by those two players?
Well, Mike Smith came in, he filled this part in real good. And our youngster David, he's a good player.
All right, well, let's turn over here, and maybe the player of the game here tonight, Dave Evans, a tremendous outing on your part. It seemed like everything you threw up there went in. Did you have a purpose, and once you felt some shots went in, hey, I might as well keep this up?
Yeah, you know, I shot my first 3 down here, and I got confident, and Michael Thompson was telling me, keep shooting the ball, David. And I just kept shooting. I felt my rhythm, so, you know, most of the time I felt I was open. I just shot and then successfully went in.
Well, a game-high 20 points unofficially tonight for the sophomore Dave Evans. Get a good look at this guy, folks. You're going to see a lot of him over the next couple of years. What has it been like, the transition of you and Smith and Collins coming along over this season and playing in, gelling in well with the veteran returning starters like Tony Marion and Michael Thompson?
You know, me, Michael, and Terry, Michael Smith, we all live around each other, so, you know, we, like, get together and practice, and then, you know, the 5 of us just blend in and practice. We like a running team, and all of us can score. So, you know, we blend in real good because all of us is unselfish. You know, we just play good basketball.
What's it mean to win on this court? I know you had a lot of friends and relatives. Both teams did. A lot of guys that you played on the playground with that saw you and your moves tonight. That's got to be a big thrill for you.
Yeah, you know, I'm too excited.
It's too exciting for you, huh? Playing in front of this crowd, is this something to take away for a long time?
Yeah, they beat us last year in the same situation at our home, and like Michael Thompson was saying, we getting their nest. He the one kept this team together at the down time. So, you know, we just came out with a victory.
All right, Dave, I'll let you go. Great game here tonight. And Tony, one more thing. Michael, why don't you come on over here and join us real quickly? And now this is what the Joliet Central fans brought here tonight to put a little mockery on the Joliet West Tigers and their mascots, but obviously all the stuffing has been taken out of that. But I guess, Michael, it was you guys who took all the stuffing out of the Steelman tonight. You wanted this one bad, maybe more than anyone else, didn't you?
To me, this was a revenge. Last year they had our nets. This year we wanted theirs. It's bragging rights for the summer. I can say all summer now that we got y'all.
Tony, you too were in that loss last year on your home court. This had to mean something. The younger players tell me that you two guys kept their minds and their hearts in this game and in this direction of winning this regional all throughout the season. How is that?
You reminded them every day.
Now, what are you going to do with this here? The net.
Keep it.
All right. Guys, congratulations. A great game. I'll let you go here. We'll be back to talk with a few more of the guys here in a moment. Thanks so much. A big game here tonight for the Joliet West Tigers, and maybe their biggest game of the year. They certainly were heading in this direction for the regional final. We'll take a commercial break. We'll be back here live at Joliet Central with Frank Palmasani and a few more of the Joliet West players to continue our post-game coverage of tonight's regional championship victory, 66-62. The Tigers have the eye on the Romeoville sectional coming up next. Back victory for the Joliet West Tigers and Michael Thompson as we look upon the regional championship. This trophy got away from Michael and his teammates last season, and as you mentioned to me a moment ago, bragging rights in Joliet now in the playgrounds for you, but more importantly, it sent you guys to the sectional after coming off the SICA West Conference Championship. What do you look forward to, the kind of play you guys are going to meet up with when you go to Romeoville next week?
You know, we either play Sandburg, which we beat before, or Lockport. So we have to just play our type of game, you know, hit the boards early, because we didn't hit the boards early and against Central. You know, so we got to hit the boards early, you know, and just play our tempo.
Well, we were told by one source here that Sandburg did indeed beat Lockport tonight, so they will be moving on to be your first opponent. And of course, the winner of the Sandburg Joliet West game on Wednesday night at Romeoville will take on in the championship game on Friday the winner of the Oswego Regional Championship which had Oswego and Wabansie Valley playing and Kankakee Bourbonnais, those two teams playing for the other one. A lot of people feel the Kankakee Bourbonnais team might be the best team in the sectional. What are your thoughts on that?
They beat us by 2, but it was a slow-paced game. If we get in our type of game, I think we can beat them. We can blow them out, I think.
Frank, you and I saw some very interesting lead changes, and this guy was a big part of them.
Well, Michael Thompson has been and continues to be the leader of this club. Mike, you have the ability, as I've watched you play now throughout this year and certainly last year, when things aren't going good, to certainly rally your troops and not let them get down. Is that a conscious effort on your part, or has it just come naturally with the tremendous amount of athletic experience that you've had?
With me playing on varsity 4 years, my team looked for me to bring them back into the game. So when they get down, I have to pick them up, keep them up, keep the intensity rolling.
Mike, the true degree of the quality of a point guard is to know who's hot, who you need to get the ball to, and you did a great job tonight of getting the ball to Dave Evans.
David was very hot. I was penetrating, trying to dish out to him, and when I dished out to him, he was banging a 3.
Well, we're going to be looking forward to sectional play and watching you play, and certainly hope that you can go as far as possible in bringing a sectional championship, super sectional championship, and seeing you play downstate.
All right, thanks.
Michael, congratulations. A great game, and again, we'll see you at Romeoville. Thanks so much. Right. Enjoy the bragging right for the next year.
Thanks.
All right, Michael Thompson, tremendous 3-sport athlete for Joliet West, and I just want to run down real briefly the scoring totals for you unofficially tonight for the Joliet West Tigers, who improved their overall record to 21 wins and 6 losses. They were led in scoring by the sophomore guard Dave Evans with 20 points. 14 tonight for Tony Merriam. He scored 8 of those he scored 10 of those in the second half for Merriam. 6 points tonight from Terry Collins and Michael Smith. 7 points from Michael Thompson tonight, and 8 off the bench in the first half from Ken Drake. A big first half of bench climbing for Drake. 3 off the bench for Ed Wood also in the first half. For Michael Connell's Joliet West Tigers, who win here tonight by 4. For Joliet Central, who lose their 8th game of the year in 27 starts, they were led by 15 points from Randy Tucker, 14 by James Winters, who fouled out of the ball game at 2:04 of the fourth quarter. 13 points tonight for Kedzie Curry, 11 for Frank Wallace, who really took up the slack when Winters was fouled out on the bench. 6 points for Calvin King. Scott Hassenjager had a tremendous game coming off the bench with 2 steals, a block, 2 rebounds, and a 3-point field goal, and a 2-pointer there at the end that almost would have gotten Joliet Central the lead back in their place.
Joe, you look at that situation with Joliet Central and you see that great balance. They had great balance scoring, and we said earlier we thought they're predominantly a 2-player offensive team in terms of scores, maybe 3-player with Frankie Wallace, but they got great balance, and then as you indicated, Scott Hassenjager coming off the bench. With Joliet West, it certainly was bench play in the first half after that brilliant start. I mean, the start was incredible. First 5 minutes, I think they might have missed 1 shot as a team. Then they had the great bench play when things weren't going well. In the second half, it was all David Evans.
He really played the game of his life, and to think he's got a couple more years to go. And I think as Michael Thompson pointed out, we saw he was hot. We got him the ball early, and that was a big plus for them. Winters fouling out, well, you can only imagine what that may have meant, his absence, because he was a dominating player while he was in. But no matter, the final score, a 4-point edge tonight for Joliet West. They advance on to the Romeoville sectional for a Wednesday matchup at 7:30 at the Romeoville High School gym to play Carl Sandburg High School, the winner, we are told here tonight, of the Lockport Regional. And the other two, Oswego and the Oswego Regional winner, in all likelihood, Wabansie Valley, and then the Kankakee Bradley Bourbonnais Regional winner, which is really a coin flip. It should make for a great sectional. Channel 15 will be there. We will have that game on tape delay again as our game of the week. And another great one here, as they always are, when the 2 Joliet Township high schools get together for a little game of basketball.
Joe, you put it on the blackboard, you talk about it in advance, everybody talks about it on the streets all week. What kind of a game are we going to see? The expectation was not equal to the actual performance, because it was a beauty.
It was a beauty of a telecast, too. We thank our crew and all of those from Centel and Continental Cablevision for a great first, a live telecast here on Channel 15. For Frank Palmasani, I'm Joe Passion. For all of us here at Channel 15, our final score, once again live from Joliet High School, 66-62. The Tigers have their eye on the Romeoville sectional. That's coming up next week. Good night, everyone. ball game, 61-60, and James Winters is saying good night.
Do it all with the encouragement of his teammates because he can't do anything for him on the floor.
Inside the hook. Rebound, a big one for Calvin King. He has 4 boards tonight. 1-point lead for the Steelmen, 61-60. 1:40 left to go in the game.
Joliet Central is in a spread offensive set.
Hassenjager pulls up, tries to get his own rebound. He's over the back of Tony Marion and picks up the foul.
What'll happen in that spread offensive set, Joe, is they're going to spread the floor, and if they have an opportunity to take the lane, they just hustle for the board, just run over the top.
Season, and Mike O'Connell is all over the referees. He wants a 2-shot foul, but the referees, I believe, calling one-on-one. And now there is confusion over who is calling the timeout. Mike O'Connell says, not me. Now O'Connell's coming out, and he wants an explanation from the referees.
There was Joliet Central wanted a timeout. They didn't get it called early enough. The Joliet West kid had the ball, and we saw the whistle blow as if the Joliet West player, felt it was a slippery ball, so he gave it back to the referee. That was the impression I got in terms of watching it here, Joe. Exactly, I'm not sure exactly what the interchange was.
Players from the winning team, so stay with us. A lot more is still to come tonight on the Continental Cablevision. WCTV Channel 15 High School Basketball Game of the Week. And Tony Marion at the line sinks the first one. And the game is tied at 61. Marion now with 11 tonight, making his presence noted at the free throw line.
Well, with all that back and forth situation, conversation with the referee and the timeout and so forth, Tony Marion said, hey, I don't even care. I'm just going to go down and stick it.
And he doesn't vote. Tony Marion has 12. That's a 1-point Joliet West lead. It's Thompson and Evans in the backcourt, Smith and Collins and Marion in the front court for the Tigers. Looking down low for Frank Wallace, had his shot, waited, and it's fouled by Collins.
Well, Frank Wallace did a great job there. He ball faked twice, stuck the ball, showed the ball, and just forced the foul. Excellent job by Collins. Or excuse me, by Frank Wallace.
Collins, the personal, and here's Wallace, who is just getting a great pass from Hassenjager and waiting for someone to pounce on him, and he got it.
So the key was the second ball fake, Joe.
This will tie it up.
Well, I think right now you're in a situation where Joliet West needs to get the ball into David Evans' hand where he can get a jump shot off, or obviously get the ball inside. You know, they're in a situation here, they may have the lead or it's going to be tied. Point is, they're still going to want to get a score. The way Evans has played, I think you need to go to the hot hand here. Joliet Central needs a good defensive stand. If they can get that good defensive stand, they may be able to get the last shot.
Wallace with 11, and with 1:11 left in the ball game, it's tied 62. Michael Thompson.
And Central is very conscious of where David Evans is at on the floor.
Ball knocked away momentarily. Dangerous cross-court pass to Thompson. Michael feeds it back in to Marion. In and out. Rebound Calvin Smith. Calvin King, the rebound, traveling violation. The ball back to Joliet West with 49 seconds left. Calvin King made a great rebound of that, but as he fell on the ground, his feet moved. Joliet West wants a timeout, and we'll take another view that we will be back with you next Friday night. Next week, actually, for a tape delay coverage of the Romeoville Class AA Boys Sectional Championship game. Either the local team that will be on hand to represent the area, and our Channel 15 cameras will be there, unless, of course, a local team is not represented in that sectional final. Back to live action, underneath the glass, no basket, but a foul.
Joe, I was going to say, one of two things was going to happen there. West was going to try to get a quick score off an inbounds play, or they were going to hold it back and try to play for the last shot. They got the ball inside, and Evans, you know, obviously he's a good candidate to shoot the ball, did come up with a shot around the basket and got fouled.
Joliet West has outscored their opponents in the fourth quarter over this season, Frank, by just 7 points. It has usually been close. The first quarter is when they usually pull away. That wasn't the case here tonight. But the free throw by undoubtedly the player of the game. Should Joliet West win here, sophomore Dave Evans. misses the second. This time King the rebound.
Well,
Calvin King, 7 rebounds. The final 40 seconds, a 1-point ball game. Joliet West the lead. The crowd on their feet for the final.